Let me ask you a question. Do you track your inventory? Do you use a database, or you rely on an Excel sheet? Or even worse, you use a piece of paper where you keep track of the devices you have in your infrastructure? Now, I've been in this situation before where I used to rely on Excel sheet to track the inventory of devices, network devices, servers, database, and then I started using open source softwares, and then moved on to license-based softwares. So I kind of seen and done a lot around this solution to keep your inventory up to date. And for every solution, there are pros and cons. And in this video, I want to show you one solution that I found to be very easy to use, intuitive, and also it's free. This tool is Netbox. Netbox is considered to be a source of truth. Essentially, this means that if there is a place where you want to know which devices you have in the network, and it is the most up-to-date source of information, that should be Netbox. So it has different features, such as IP address management. You can also allocate or provision available IP addresses. You can keep track of VLANs, devices, and also describe how the devices in the data center or in the rack are connected. There is just a lot that you can do with this feature. And in this video, we're going to see how to install it and how to add the devices into Netbox. So the installation process is very simple and intuitive. So if we go to installation and upgrade, installing Netbox, if you want, you can watch the video also that was done by the maintainer Jeremy, who's been keeping this project running. And here you can see all the steps required to install Netbox, and we're going to follow all of them, at least most of them, until actually point number 5. That will be enough to set up Netbox. And there are some requirements to install Netbox, such as Python should be the minimum version should be 3.8. Postgres should be 11, and Redis 4.0. And even if you don't know what these softwares, these libraries are, that's not a problem. You will see that once we install the tool, it will be self-explanatory and very intuitive to use. So let's begin with installation of PostgreSQL database. So we can start with the first step, and because we are running Ubuntu, I'm just going to copy the commands. Okay, it's very easy. And I'll go to terminal. I'm already running as a root, so I'm just going to paste, and first I'm going to update the system, and then it's going to install PostgreSQL. Okay, the installation was completed. So next step, we have to check the version. If it is the latest one, I'm just going to paste, and it is 12.15, so we're okay, as the minimum should be 11. So the next step is to create a database. I'm just going to copy this, and we are inside. So now we have to create a database, and for production it is recommended to use a different username and password, but this is just lab environment, so I'm just going to copy and paste as it is, and I'm going to use this later, so I'm going to save this on text editor. Okay, I'm just going to keep this here. So next, so the database was created, okay, but it's empty. So this is done, so now we can quit. and we can verify the status. So because we are running this locally, I'm just going to copy this command and paste directly on the terminal. And now I have to paste the password for this user, and we are inside. Okay, so that's okay. This is the same output, just to confirm that everything is okay. And connection info, so you connected to the database as a Netbox user. So this is the database and the user is Netbox, and this is the host, local host. Okay, so everything seems to be okay, so we can quit and return to the main terminal. So now we're going to install redis. I'm just going to copy this and paste, and it's going to install. Okay, this shouldn't take long. So next we're going to verify the service, copy, and it's working because we got a reply saying pong. Okay, so red was installed successfully. So next we're going to install Netbox, but first we have to make sure that we have all the libraries from Python. Just going to paste, and it's going to download the Python libraries. Okay, the installation is completed. So now let's check Python version. So it's 3.8.10. It's okay. And now to install Netbox, there are two options, as you can see. There is option A, where you download the latest stable release, and there is option B, where you clone the Git repo. So we're going to use option B because it seemed to me the easiest one. I'm just going to copy this command, and we're going to paste, and now we're going to install Git because this is a fresh installation of Linux Ubuntu. So I have to install all the softwares, and next we're going to copy the GitHub repo into the current directory. I'm just going to copy these and paste. So now it's going to download the Git repository. Okay, so this is done. Now should get the same output as we did. So now we have to create the Netbox system user. So just going to copy. As you can see, I'm just going to follow the instructions because it's self-explanatory what it's doing. And now we have to make some changes on this file. So I'm just going to use nano configuration.py, and I want to change, as you can see, what we have to do. So we have to change the allowed hosts, and for this lab I'm just going to use this example. I'm just going to set to accept any host. So getting inside, so it means that's going to accept all the hosts. Next is the database. As for the database, we have to make sure that we have the name Netbox, user Netbox, and the password we created earlier. So I'm just going to copy this and paste to Netbox. I'll do the same for the password. Just going to paste this. Okay, and the host will be localhost. Okay, and what else? So now we have to change also, so redis we don't have to change anything because we need two let's see, two databases, and we have the tasks and the other one caching. And next we have to create this secret key to be used in these files. So we have to place here the secret key, and the way to generate this secret key, so I'm going to save this file Okay, and I'm going to copy this to generate a secret key. I'm going to copy the secret key generated and get back into the file. And what is it? Secrets. Okay, now I'll move to your file. Let me go back. So database, secret key. Okay, that's, I can paste it here and that's done. So we have secret key and what else? And that's it. So there's nothing else to change. Okay, so this is done. Now we can run the upgrade script. And what we need, so we need to run these commands. I'm just going to copy, and if you want, you can read all the steps described here. Okay, the installation was completed. So next we have to create a super user account. So first we have to enable a virtual environment, and then we're going to create this super user. Okay, and we're going to create a user with name admin, email address, password admin, just like Jeremy did, quite simple, and it's done. So next we want to test whether this is working without any problems. So I'm just going to copy and paste, and we can see that it's running. Okay, so let me try to open this. Okay, so it's running as possible. So I'm using 000, but it could be the same as if I did 001. Okay, it's the same thing. So you can see that it's working awesome. So the installation work without any problem. So you can cancel this, and next, what I have to do next, now we have to install the Gunicorn. So we're going to copy this command and paste it. So now we're going to follow the steps. systemd is set up, so I'm just going to copy this. So this is very easy. So this is done. So now we want to start these services. Okay, they were done correctly. So now I can start Netbox service, and we can see that Netbox service is active and running. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, so this seems okay. So now we go to the final part, and it is to enable HTTPS access. So the way to do that, we're going to open another prompt actually. Okay, so I'm just going to generate a new key. So open SSL. So let's just use the country where I am. So locality, yes, leave it as default. And now I'm going to install Nginx, paste, and let it run. So the next step is to copy this file, and we want to edit the Nginx sites available, Netbox, and we want to replace the server name with the IP we are using, so localhost, and that's it. We can save this and exit, and now we have to follow the next step and just paste this. Is done, and restart the service Nginx. Okay, so this is done. So at this point that should be enough. So now if we try to open Netbox again. Now this time using HTTPS on port. Let me just try to open. So it's going to redirect to HTTPS. So go to advanced, accept the risk and continue, because this is a self-signed certificate. And we can see it's working. If we log in as admin, so it will take some time to load because it's the first time, I believe, we're using admin. No, don't save. As you can see, the installation process is very simple to follow. You don't have to be a Linux guru or anything else. So how do we add devices into Netbox? So it might be too intuitive and too easy to just go directly to devices and then navigate to devices and just start adding devices, but we can't. With Netbox, we have to plan how we want our inventory to look like. So we know that, for instance, we have a router inside the data center. So we know that the data center is at somewhere at a specific location. The router is inside a specific rack. The router has certain interfaces, is connected to specific switches or other routers. So we want to use Netbox to logically identify as much as possible what we have in the real world, okay, what we have physically. So first we're going to create a site, and I'm going to just name it as XPWise. Okay, and Slack's just going to get a friendly, unique shorthand name. And what else do I want here? Nothing else. So I think I can save this. I'm going to create a site. If I try to create a device again, so where do I have this? So I have sites, and so I go to devices. If I try to add a device, now I can't add a device because all the equipments in my network, they have a specific role. And for this case, I'm just going to say, okay, this type of device that I want to add is a core device. Okay, it is a core device, and maybe assigned to this role. So we're going to create, because I can have routers running as virtual machines. If I try to add a device again, it will say that you still need to set a device type. What is it a router? Is it a switch? So you have to have this information before. And if I try to add a device type, it's going to ask for a manufacturer. We can have Cisco, we have Checkpoint, we have a reseller, we have different manufacturers or vendors. So first we have to add a manufacturer. So I'm going to click on add and just going to name this as Cisco. Okay, I'm going to create, and if I go back to devices, now I have to add the device type. So the manufacturer is Cisco. Model, I'm just going to say this is 1921, something like that. And what else do I need? So okay, that's enough. We can create this. So this is the device type. Now if you go back to devices, now we can add a device, and I'll add a device R1. So this is my router device role. So this is a core device in my infrastructure. Device type, it is 1921. And what is the location? It is at XPY site. Is it active? Yes, it is. Okay, so I can create this new device. So I have a device. As you can see, there are other fields that we have to provide. So in a production environment, you want to be as realistic as possible, because that's going to be your source of truth, the most reliable source of information for your infrastructure. Now there are things that we can add to R1, for instance interfaces. we know that routers has interfaces, so we're going to click on components, and let's say we want to add interfaces, and the interface can be, let's say, E, and we can set, just to see the example they have there, so let's say just I have E01. This is one of the interface that I have on the router, and this is going to be an Ethernet interface. I'm just going to select 10100 mega, okay, and let's select 10,000, and duplex, let's select just full. What else? Which options we have? Related interfaces, and that's enough. So we are saying that this router has this interface, and that's the current speed for that interface. So now let's suppose we want to assign an IP address to this interface. Now the way to do that is to go to IPAM. So first we want to create the prefixes, or we can start by creating the aggregates, but we're just going to create the prefixes. And we're going to add a prefix. Let's say it's 192.168.43.0.24, and it is active. And what else do we need? Nothing else. Next, we're going to assign an IP address to R1 E1 interface. We can do it by going to IP address, and let's add a new IP address. Let's say it is 192.168.43.124, and let's say this is going to be assigned to E1 device, and we're going to create, and now we see that R1 or E01 interface has this IP 43.1. Now if I go to R1, I can see that this is assigned to R1 interface. As you can see, this tool is very intuitive and easy to use, and if you need additional support, you can rely on their documentation or even reach directly to Netbox team on their GitHub page. So I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you in the next time. Adios.